Marie Antoinette, the night before the scaffold.
Marie Antoinette, the final night before the guillotine. Night falls over Paris. The old cobblestone streets vanish beneath a blanket of fog. In the distance, the conciergerie prison rises from the mist, dim oil lamps flickering against its Gothic stone walls. Every brick seems to hold a breath of history, of judgment, of fate. And inside, she waits Marie Antoinette. In a small, cold cell, once the Queen of France now sits alone. Her silver hair is loosely tied back, and she wears a simple gray dress. A single candle flickers on the stone floor, casting shadows across the walls and across her tired face. The halls of Versailles are gone. The music, the laughter, the court, all dissolved into silence. Resting on her lap is a worn piece of paper, smudged with faint charcoal letters. Her hands tremble slightly as they hold at this fragile page, perhaps the last testament of a fallen monarch. Not a decree, not a royal order, but a letter to her children, to memory, to the echoes of who she once was. Slowly, she rises and walks to the barred window. Outside, the moonlight streams through, touching her face with a gentle glow. A soft breeze stirs, lifting strands of her hair. She does not cry. There is no fear, only a quiet, dignified sadness in her eyes that look past the walls, past the city, perhaps toward freedom, not freedom of the body, but of the soul. Behind her on the wall, her shadow dances in the glow of the flickering flame. It is faint, delicate, almost ghostly-like, the fading memory of a woman who once ruled a kingdom. A shadow that speaks not of power, but of solitude, of poetry, of endings, and perhaps of beginnings. The last journey begins. The morning light crept softly into the cell. A pale silver hue filtered through the barred window, brushing against the stone floor like a silent invitation to rise. Marie Antoinette stood slowly, her every movement deliberate, quiet, as if not to wake the stillness around her. There was no ceremony, only the breath of dawn and the final threads of solitude. Outside the cell door, a young revolutionary soldier stood waiting. He didn't speak. In his hands he carried a simple offering, bread and water. But what he left behind spoke more than words. A withered flower gently laid upon the stone. Perhaps an apology, perhaps an unspoken gesture of shared humanity, a final kindness in a world unraveling. As she passed the walls that had confined her, Marie's fingers lingered, brushing lightly against the cold stone. It was not a farewell of anger, but of memory, a silent gesture of release. Her touch was soft, almost reverent, as though thanking the silence for keeping her company in those final hours. She stepped onto the wooden execution cart with grace, not defiance. Her back remained straight, her chin slightly lifted. The wind caught strands of her silver hair, lifting them into the morning air like a banner of quiet resolve. There was no crown, no velvet cloconi, the dignity that no guillotine could sever. The cart rolled forward. On either side of the narrow Parisian street, a crowd had gathered. Faces blurred by fog, their murmurs lost in the hush of dawn. Some watched with curiosity, others turned away. Here and yet, as the cart passed, it was not the noise that stood out. It was the haunting quiet, a city holding its breath. Marie Antoinette moved through them like a ghost of her former self. But she did not vanish. She remained, composed, human, tragic. A figure of sorrow and strength and surrender. A farewell without words. The sky above was quiet, pale, and endless. As the cart came to a halt beneath the wooden scaffold, Marie Antoinette slowly raised her gaze. A sliver of early morning sunlight touched her face, soft and golden, as if the heavens themselves paused to witness. She looked not at the blade nor at the crowd but upward, toward a sky no bars could ever reach. She took a breath, and then with the slightest of nods, she acknowledged the moment, not with fear, not with regret, but with a quiet grace that no verdict could strip from her. The guillotine stood waiting, its cold steel glinting with a shimmer of dawn. Yet it was not death that filled the air but stillness, a reverence that felt eternal. A single strand of her white hair fell, spiraling down until it came to rest upon the dark wooden boards beneath her feet. There it lay small, silent, yet heavy with memory. No crown, no jewels. Just this, a final detail of a life unraveled. From the scaffold, one could see the sea of people gathered in the distance, but none shouted, none jeered. They simply stood, heads bowed, eyes lowered, as if the weight of history pressed down on all. From behind her, Marie was no longer a queen, no longer a prisoner. She was simply a woman, a symbol, a soul returning to silence. And then she was gone. Not with a cry, not with thunder, but like a shadow folding into mist. Her figure faded gently, as if stepping into another world. The air held its breath, the music stopped. And for a moment, time itself seemed to pause, giving her one last act of dignity. Thus ended the final chapter. But in the stillness that followed, something remained, not the echo of a fall, but the imprint of a life that dared to carry grace even to the gallows.